In a press release, Mr. Bankman-Fried said he was happy to partner with investors that prioritize positioning FTX as the world's most transparent and compliant cryptocurrency exchange. The amount raised contained numerical references to marijuana and oral sex. 420.69 million raised from 69 investors. 69, how ironic is that, right? First thing I noticed going back through this video and editing it, I have Tourette syndrome, for those of you that don't know. And if my facial tics are bad, which I just noticed they were, a little worse today than they normally are, I apologize, but that's why you see me twitching all over the screen. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX and the founder of Alameda, it's a hedge fund, has just screwed over millions of investors. I mean, billions of dollars have just disappeared. Here's what we know so far. Old Gangbang Fried was rooming with 10 or 15 of his own employees that were running this company. And they had some crazy sex ring going on inside of his little nice apartment there in the Bahamas.
Boat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you.
Well, if the man is screwing 15 of his friends, he's probably screwing you as an investor. I mean, it doesn't get, this is almost as good as the nudist that is apparently just in Nancy Pelosi's house beating up her husband. Okay. Here's what else we know. Sam was also the second largest donor to the Democratic Party behind George Soros. CNN even wrote an article confirming this. It is weird, the timing in this, that just after midterm elections, the company goes under. The other thing is Zelenskyy has been funneling money, Ukraine funds, through FTX as well. Now, this is a big problem with me. Yeah, people donate money to the parties. Okay. The weird thing is that the Democratic Party is really the one who's been in power for the last, 2 years now, and has been giving Ukraine substantial amount of money for their war going on. And Ukraine has been taking this money via military aid, which if you go to the last episode I did, I talked about how Nancy Pelosi has been profiting off of this Ukraine war via the military aid. But now they're taking cash and they're investing into cryptocurrency, into a very volatile investment, by the way, which isn't like if you were going to want stability with your nation's finances, cryptocurrency is definitely not the way to go. It seems a little sketchy to me that we're giving Ukraine money. They're taking the money, giving it to FTX to invest, and FTX is giving it right back to the Democratic Party.
Hey, there's something awfully screwy going on around here.
Is no one catching on to this? You notice how we never see any cryptocurrency holdings from politicians? Are we just going to assume that all politicians are just so great that they understand how bad cryptocurrency could be and they don't want to invest in it?
Look, I fucking known him for 2 weeks. He wouldn't fucking do something like that.
Well, no, because cryptocurrency has been a great money-making opportunity for the last several years. And we know that our politicians are all about that dollar. So the difference is I don't think they have to report it. They are supposed to, but they don't. We always talk about their trades with Google and Apple and Tesla. I talked about their Monster LP partnership with the Pelosi's. But again, none of it ever comes back to cryptocurrency. But as I've been reporting on this FTX incident, Wall Street Journal just came out with another article that I want to read. And I think it's really kind of opens this whole thing up for everyone. It says, when FTX raised $420 million from an array of big-name investors in October of 2021, the cryptocurrency exchange said the money would help expand the business, improve user experience, and allow it to engage more with regulators. Left unmentioned was that nearly 3/4 of the money, $300 million, went instead to FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, who sold some of his personal stake in the company, according to FTX financial records reviewed by the Wall Street Journal and people familiar with the transaction. So He raised $420 million, supposedly for like marketing and expansion of FTX. What they didn't know is that $300 million of that went to basically pay Sam Bankman-Fried into his personal account. Says Mr. Bankman's cash out was large by startup world standards, where such sales historically were taboo because they allow founders to reap profits before investors. Mr. Bankman-Fried told investors at the time it was a partial reimbursement of money he'd spent to buy out rival Binance's stake in FTX a few months earlier. The deal offers a glimpse to the swirl of money between Mr. Bankman-Fried and multiple entities he controlled while his crypto business flourished, a funding stream that helped finance a burst of political donations, philanthropic commitments, and a large purchase of Robinhood Markets stock in the past year. The swirl is now under scrutiny in sprawling bankruptcy of FTX and Alameda Research LLC, which is this hedge fund, which led customer funds to Alameda, faces a funding gap of roughly $8 billion. The filing highlighted numerous failings, including the concentration of control into the hands of a very small group of inexperienced, unsophisticated, and potentially compromised individuals. I believe this is their own attorney that is saying this. Their own attorneys at the company are going against them, saying that there's a major problem going on here. Mr. Bankman-Fried's sale of stock in October 2021 came into the midst of a 6-month fundraising blitz that ultimately brought roughly $2 billion from investors, including Sequoia Capital, funds managed by BlackRock Inc., and with Singapore sovereign wealth fund Temasek. The October 2021 fundraising valued the company at $25 billion. In a press release, Mr. Bankman-Fried said he was happy to partner with investors that prioritize positioning FTX as the world's most transparent and compliant cryptocurrency exchange. The amount raised contained numerical references to marijuana and oral sex.
You serious?
Think about this. The amount raised contained numerical references to marijuana and oral sex. 420.69 million raised from 69 investors. 69, how ironic is that, right? They also had a fund on their balance sheet that said Trump lose. The amount of political agenda, along with all the other shit, and the fact that they even had the balls to put it on their balance sheet, either they were just so careless or so stupid. They thought they really could get away with this, or they knew that they had so much power over, especially a lot of the political candidates, because of their donations, that they were going to be able to get away with this. Just shows a major flaw in many different systems, not only politically, but also regulatory wise. And it just sucks because all this is going to do, like I said before, is be a major catalyst towards more government regulation. I mean, come on, they had a numerical references to marijuana and oral sex on their balance sheet. We're talking about someone who had $30 billion in net worth because he was scamming people through a Ponzi scheme. And he was in the Bahamas too, by the way. Is it not like a major red flag if a political candidate is getting donations from a company fucking in another country? The Bahamas is not part of the United States, and they're a major political donor to the Democratic Party. And my fear is that we are never really going to find out who all is responsible for this. By the way, you can go back. You donated $5.225 million to Joe Biden's campaign in 2020. That was FTX. Bankman-Fried talks about sketchy political donations that he didn't want disclosed in interviews. Like, this guy, I don't know if he just has a problem where, look, if you're going to do illegal shit, don't fucking talk about it.